So one of the common things that I have most of the students do that are interested in gaining a deeper understanding of pricing out vehicles is actually bringing your VIN numbers, your personal vehicles into class. When we used to do this example live, I used to be able to show you the tools that we're utilizing here today in class because I was able to show you on your personal vehicles. Trying to recreate that in a personal environment, a little bit different, but we've had Will and Chris be able to put in their personal vehicles here into the chat. We'll start, Chris, first with yours. Chris, what vehicle is this that we're utilizing today?
The Dodge Ram.
Dodge Ram. Okay.
1500 2017.
Perfect. And I know that it's gray. So what we're going to do is treat this just like we were trying to buy it out in the field. Now, one of the common questions that I get asked is, where is the best place to buy cars? Any guesses?
The postal code that you're putting into the customer information there. Wherever that is.
That's actually a trick, and I will show you.
Yeah, that's where is that? I forget where that is.
It's Grand Terrace.
Grand Terrace, thank you. Somewhere in Riverside.
For all the local people that aren't from Riverside and in that general concept. So the best place to buy vehicles is actually directly from the public. Always has been, always will be. Now, one of the common misconceptions why people think that buying from auction is better is because there are deals that you can get at auction. But I'll tell you really quickly, as far as kind of how the car ecosystem works, we actually need franchise stores. We need franchise stores to function. And Will, like we were talking about in the previous example, when a franchise store takes something in on trade, it can be anywhere from $100 to $200 or more dollars per hour to get that reconned directly in their actual physical store. And you can imagine that there are some good cars that the store is going to keep, but a lot of the cars, they're just going to go and send out to the auction and see what they can get for them based on the condition. Now, when I'm buying directly from the public, I'm getting in front of that. I'm getting in front and directly to the consumer to try to source that inventory directly, kind of similar to what CarMax or Carvana does. That's now my job as a dealer to try to get in front of that and try to facilitate it. So that's exactly what we're going to trade. We're going to treat this as. We're going to look at it and see exactly what Chris is offering here and seeing if there's some kind of deal that can be made. Now, there is no optional equipment as far as the vehicle is concerned, pretty much as it comes.
Yes, it is a Laramie.
Is it a crew cab or extended?
Crew.
Crew. All right. I've now drilled down as much as I can on the vehicle. And now what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for some sort of market day supply on the vehicle. So one of the good things is that there's only 8 of these vehicles in the entire United States that have been sold recently. So we're kind of the market's there, but it's minimal. So we want to be able to look at it objectively to try to see if we can get Chris, the best response as far as what he's trading in. Now, important thing to factor in, that asking price for this is $24,000, but your book is only $20,000. Okay. There are some deductions as far as the ads on the car. And like we talked about, a little bit of a mileage adjustment. There's not a chance that I'm going to probably be able to get, I would say, over 20 for it. So if I was looking at this as far as the trade-in value is concerned, I would have to adjust my numbers in order for it to ultimately make sense. Now I come down here, modifying my MMR. Got an adjusted MMR of about 19 grand. And now I've got my factored in here. And I'm always going to take my first swing. Chris, would you take 16.5 for your truck?
Hell no.
Why?
Because I'm not selling.
I know, but
I don't know. It's a great question.
but
Probably not. No.
is the information here? Does it give you the warm and fuzzies? Now I know
No.
you've looked at this software before, and
Yeah.
75% of market, that's incredibly low.
Mhm.
And do I think that's market on your truck? No, I don't. Based on the information that I'm personally looking at, you'd probably be closer to here, but still, 80% of market isn't that desirable.
Mhm.
And yes, everybody, probably even watching this video, would take something that's 80% of market. Now, it will still require some investment on your part and having to put some information in there as far as if I was to buy this as a dealer. But as my friend, I will tell you that no, hang on to your truck because you need to sell your truck when the market's nice and hot, not in the middle of December, and ultimately when hopefully it has a better market supply as well. So, given that scenario with what we're looking at, I would say you're probably going to hang on to that beauty for a while.
So the market supply being low doesn't drive the price higher.
It can in certain circumstances, but it's the desirability of the truck itself. The reason why it's not as desirable in its current condition is because it's a two-wheel drive.
Mm-hmm.
So the two-wheel drive is a little bit harder to sell, I would say. So it doesn't create that same kind of market intensity, and that's the reason why the market supply is lower. Is because it's a two-wheel drive truck. Although it's a Laramie, although it's got some of the nicer features, it just ultimately misses on what we're typically looking for when it comes to a little bit higher marketability as far as the truck. At least my professional opinion. All right, Will, let's take a look at this beauty. We got a 2007 Ford Edge.
Sure.
First thing that jumps out to me is the Carfax and also that there's an open recall. So now, what we were talking about earlier, where you were saying there's something impactful on your car, I look at the minor accident, and now as the dealer, I get to turn around as fair play. When you say there's a minor accident in your car, and you say what was the minor accident?
I believe it was the bumper falling off.
Okay. So in my mind, I'm going to think the bumper not only fell off, but something got pushed in, and something else bad happened. So I have my own speculations that I'm going to exercise on my end in order to try to get maybe a little bit less for this car now that I know that it's had a minor accident. One thing that jumps out to me is the recalls. Okay. Now, as a dealer, can we sell a vehicle that has recalls on it?
No.
No.
No. And the reason why is because they're safety issues. So right now you have an airbag inflator recall. It seems to be the only one, but I will tell you, if you just take it to your local Ford store, they'll take care of that recall for you, no problem. Okay. But we can still take the time to take a look and see if there's anything going on with the vehicle and also whether or not it's something we can sell. I believe it was in SEL.
SEL, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Once again, we want to try to see if we can get a market day supply on it. And because it's a Ford, more than likely it will have a stronger market day supply. Typically, the Ford Edge does sell a little bit better. Difference being in this one, though, book on your car is $3,700. So a little bit more difficult to navigate as far as what you'll actually be willing to part ways with this vehicle for. Because at an average MMR of 1,600, it's telling me I can buy this car for about 2,400, which there's not a chance if the MMR is 1,600. So more than likely, I was going to offer you trade-in value for your vehicle, probably somewhere between 800 and $1,000. Main reason why is because I have to at least be able to cover the auction fee, being able to get it over there. There is no concrete reason as to why. This is definitely not going to my front line. It's going to age out because of just what the vehicle is in general, and will just become an additional down payment for you, essentially, if you wanted to factor that in. So, did you want to sell your Ford Edge today for $800?
I'm okay.
I don't blame you. Okay. But this is what car dealers do day in and day out. It's not as much as what people typically will think of. Oh, I'm looking to take advantage of my consumer. It's far from it. All of this information, all of this data that we're looking at right now is what we take, we factor in while you're sitting at the desk trying to factor in what your new lovely car is going to cost you. And I've got to factor in things like what your credit history is, what your job history is. Do you have a co-signer? And then whatever trade-in that you end up bringing me. Now, neither one of your vehicles, I would say I would probably bring to my front line. They would end up becoming trades and probably being sent to auction just because, again, of the higher mileage portions. But as we see that there's more of a shortage as far as our industry is concerned, we do see that a lot more dealers are tending to keep that inventory in stock just because, again, it's becoming harder and harder to find that kind of inventory out there. So just, key things to factor in. And that's what I tell all of my students. Before you trade in your car, before you bring it to me, let's talk about it. I can actually show you the diagram and show you, and we can talk about, what I can potentially help with. I can't tell you how many times I've negotiated it for friends, family, colleagues, just to be able to get more out of their vehicle. And I can tell you that there are things that factor in when we're looking at this long term. So to kind of sum everything up, we're looking at multiple things when we look at our vehicles. We're looking at bringing our tools with us, not just our physical tools like an OBD2 code reader and a paint meter. We're also bringing in some kind of booking software, something that can help us get an evaluation as far as our vehicles are concerned. It's important to have more than one area to be able to source your inventory. Auctions are a great example of how to get cars, but it can be just as lucrative to be able to get it off the street as well. So both things are something we want to factor in, and getting familiar with how to physically price out and examine vehicles. Your personal vehicles are a great example. Take the time, use whatever tools you have, test it on vehicles that you own so that way you can be prepared out in the field. So I hope this lesson was helpful. When we come back, we're going to talk about the actual lesson plan and starting your journey as far as getting your license open. As far as occupational is concerned, starting your actual login portion and starting in the course material as well. We'll be right back.